Hello, class. So this week we're asked to discuss some challenges and conflicts and ethical considerations in the article that is for our reading this week. So first, in the challenges and conflicts, the article mentions that in rural communities that there's a lack of resources, such as lack of healthcare insurance, healthcare providers, transportation issues, and healthcare systems. It also mentions that social workers may have to take on multiple roles in the community, and also the limitation of social workers in rural areas. So if you're a social worker in a rural area, you may be the only social worker within a 100-mile radius of the town. So that can be pretty difficult, especially in a rural area. You could get burnout or just have a lack of wanting to do the work because you're just so exhausted from having to maintain those multiple roles or being the only social worker in town to try to help the community. In the article for ethical considerations, it talks about group work and stigmas. Social workers in rural areas, you'll have the issue of running into your clients more than likely out in the town. I know even in my town, I have ran into clients at stores, past clients and current clients. I ran into them just working at a store. They're the clerk there, but normally how I address that is I just say, hello, how are you? We have maybe a short little conversation about how we're doing. That's it, nothing more. I think that's the best way to handle a situation like that. Just say a quick hello and goodbye, just to maintain confidentiality or anything like that. Just not to mention anything that's going on with their care or past care. I know that a few weeks ago I actually ran into a past client when I worked at a boys group home. He's an adult now and he works. And he tried to talk about other clients at the place, and I just, kind of was just getting my stuff and was just like, okay, glad you're doing okay, glad you have a job, and went about my day. Also, talking about group work, social workers have to understand the limits and maintain confidentiality. According to the NASW, we have to understand the limits, maintain our confidentiality as an essential part of our daily tasks. That just means that we have to know our boundaries with the clients. We have to know to keep everything confidential, especially when we see someone out in public. We don't want to, say anything about their care or even refer to them as a client. We just say hello, goodbye, like an acquaintance. Also, about the group work in the community, we should pick a place and a time that's both convenient for the clients and also a place where the community is not going to see those clients out and have anything to talk about, because a stigma could be they see a client's car in the parking lot of a known group and they talk about it to their friends. Also, they could see just a client standing outside the building, know that they're what they're there for, because as said previously, in rural areas, almost everybody knows each other, especially when you're a social worker. Maintaining your client's confidentiality is almost the number one goal, especially doing group work. Also, when you're having group meetings, it mentions in the article to make sure that you let all of the group members know beforehand that this is a confidential place. Anything said here stays here, and give them the consequences of breaking that confidentiality. In my previous semester doing my internship, I was actually working with groups for alcohol and drug treatment and IOP. And that was the thing that they always said during the first meetings, during almost every NA meeting that we had, was anything said here stays here. And if we find out that that confidentiality is broken, they could be up for termination. Depending on the situation, they could be transferred to another class or another IOP program. But confidentiality is a big thing, especially working in groups, because they know that it's a rural area, everybody knows each other, especially if you have like a relative in the same class or a friend of a friend in the same class. You don't want to mention that to somebody who knows them and it get back to them. We had a lot of issues with that. So we just had to make it perfectly clear that they are not allowed to do that. Also, it mentions in the article about transportation. Transportation in rural areas is a big issue. So when you're picking your place for the group or picking your place to meet the client, you want to make sure that it's a place that's accessible to the client and that they have transportation there. I know some clients may have insurance that allows them to get transportation to and from appointments, but some clients may not. So at my internship, we offer case management services, which are able to pick up the client, take them to their appointments, remind them of appointments. But some clients may be reluctant to accept those services because of invasiveness. So when you're picking the location, just make sure it's accessible to all clients in the area. And transportation is also a big issue in rural areas anyway, because they don't have, like, some people may have old cars that they can't get fixed, or they don't have the money to pay someone to bring them, or they don't have the money to pay a bus ticket. So social workers can help find them resources in rural areas to transport them to and from. The text also talks about avoiding dual relationships. It can be a bad thing to have dual relationships, because the social worker needs to create clear boundaries with their clients. Also, having a dual relationship could be beneficial with people who are in power in that community, because if you know them on a level that you understand them and you understand their family dynamics, it could help you in the long run in a rural area. Let's see. That's really it for ethical considerations and for the challenges and conflicts. Thank you.